And there I was the girl from Suits.
This One's Wife, pants off, legs open, on television. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Yes, This One's Wife and Harry's Netflix series Polo recently arrived on Netflix. I'm sure you were all delighted and rushed to watch it. It would appear that there's actually slim pickings in terms of their appearances, which includes a ridiculous exchange where this one's wife attempts to show off that she can speak Spanish, although it's clearly scripted because she says something in the course of it which is a non sequitur with regard to the conversation. Demonstrates that the polo player, who can actually speak Spanish, went off script, leaving this one's wife once again looking stupid. It's performative as usual, an attempt to demonstrate to the world, look at me, I'm fluent in Spanish, with, of course, Harry shilling in the background, telling us all she's fluent in Spanish. What a dig. But what about the programme as a whole? Earlier, I provided you with the observations of the Guardian reviewer, but perhaps that is just one dissenting voice amongst a clamour of excitement for this marvellous content creation that has been generated by the brilliance of Harry and this one's wife. It may well be the case that they are a lone dissenting voice, and in other circumstances, this is a triumph, a forensic examination of the sport of polo, which many people will enjoy. Let's find out whether that's the case, and whether there is a hit in the making, or whether it's another miss on the part of this one's wife and Harry. Here, the Daily Mail, via Jessica Green, tells us, the reviews are in for Prince Harry and this one's wife's latest Netflix endeavour, Polo, otherwise known as Pants Off, Legs Open, the latest instalment of their £80 million deal with the streaming service. But despite the likely high hopes that this would join the ranks of great sport documentaries, such as Disney Plus's Welcome to Wrexham and 2020's The Last Dance, the series has been panned by critics. Oh, what a surprise. Something that has been created by this one's wife and Harry is a load of bollocks. Who would have thought that? Who would have envisaged that something generated by the gruesome twosome would end up being panned? Receiving 2 stars or less out of 5 across the board, the 5-part show has been labelled a tedious inside look at posh polo and a mostly boring look at a sport that very few people outside of elite circles have any particular interest in. The Guardian, I've already given their verdict. The Telegraph's Ed Power noted there was not enough of the Sussexes to make this anything other than a dull indulgence about a rich person's pursuit. After the Duke of Sussex caused a storm with his bombshell Netflix documentary, released in December 2022, that took aim at his own family, he cuts a surprisingly low-key figure in the show, which was released on Monday. The prince only appears a handful of times throughout the 5 episodes, with his wife, this one's wife, appearing even less, despite both being executive producers of the series. Harry appears in the opening credits of the show, but doesn't appear again until episode 4, when he's only part of a conversation with the other players. The Telegraph continued that there was a 2-star review, and Netflix and Arch will team up for a tedious inside look at posh polo, and for once, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex don't hog the limelight. He concluded there's lots of blood, sweat and tears in the series, but not enough of the Sussexes to make this anything other than a dull indulgence about a rich person's pursuit. Decider urged its viewers to skip the series in its review, claiming polo is a mostly boring look at a sport that very few people outside of elite circles have any particular interest in. Critic Joel Keller insisted the first episode was tough to connect with because it presents a world that not only isn't very relatable to most people, but is boring to boot. However, the writer did admit that if you want to find out about the nuts and bolts of the game of polo, then Polo should be an interesting watch. What about the viewers? What did they think? Well, it wasn't just the critics that were left unimpressed by the 5-part series, with some viewers also labelling Netflix Polo boring. One person wrote on X, "Polo is one of the most boring series ever on Netflix," while another individual added, "Polo is 5 hours no one can get back. Boring." Another wrote, "Okay, I am done. I can't watch this shit anymore. It's too painfully boring. How they play polo with all the other sports available is beyond me. Horse racing would be more interesting." But it wasn't all bad news. There were some that enjoyed the show. One wrote, "I know nothing about polo, but this show had me hooked, and yes, I greedily binged all 5. M. Markle, Monty Shit Show. "I never watched polo in my life, but now I am a huge fan. Well done, Harry and this one's wife, everyone that worked on this." From a H. Windsor, Monty Shit Show. "I really wish polo documentary series was longer. I enjoyed every minute of it. What a beautiful sport full of grit and passion. The personal stories behind the sport are heartwarming. Prince Harry and this one's wife, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, did a superb job." That comes from somebody called Princess Lilibet of Monty Shit Show. And finally, superb docu-series. Watched all 5 episodes in one sitting. Couldn't pause even if I wanted to. Great job and well done to everyone involved. Please let me out of this basement. I don't like it here. And that comes from Anonymous of Monty Shit Show. But what does the Daily Mail have to tell us about it? Well, it gives it a 1-star rating and reports as follows. "Another Christmas, another creative offering from Harry and this one's wife, those titans of television, forever beavering away in their Monty Shit Show mansion. 2 years ago, we had the 6-part Harry and Meghan, this mini-series, the first programme of their $100 million Netflix deal, yada, yada, yada. Since then, we've had one decent documentary about Harry's Invictus Games and another less good about leadership. That tells us about Spotify being scrapped. But none of this has dampened their spirits, because now they bring us polo. Not, sadly, the next series of the brilliantly naughty adaptation of Dame Jilly Cooper's Rutshire Rompathon, courtesy of Disney+, but instead a 5-part docu-series about the breathtakingly elite world of polo, which will pull the curtain back on the grit and passion of the sport. To be fair, in the opening moments, it does promise rather a lot. That we're going to enjoy one of the most thrilling sports you can imagine, full of dirty, sweaty, sexy boys, riding, a lot of drama and tension, and a man in a fuchsia pink polo shirt smashing up a cool box with his polo stick in a rage. Perfect for a wet Wednesday in London, you'd think. The drama centres around the build-up to the World Cup in Florida, where a lot of very slim women with very smooth faces and less smooth necks will cheer on muscular menfolk who take it all very seriously indeed. "Our life is on the line every time we get out there," says one polo player, as if he's a fireman or a marine or perhaps a disaster relief worker. "Polo is not just a sport, polo is a lifestyle. We eat, we breathe, we sleep polo," cries another. And they clearly work hard at it, because they're all wonderfully ripped and muscled with astonishingly white teeth, strong forearms, very expensive watches, Louis Vuitton holdalls and chests like brick walls. We see them lift weights and skydive and go deep-sea fishing and drive expensive cars with lovely leather interiors as dramatic music swirls. And we learn that Tim Dutter, 22, is a sweet boy who is funded by his overbearing dad, who is always shouting, "We're here for one thing and that's to win," and spoiled by his mum. But at least he seems to really love his horses. That Adolfo Cambiaso from Argentina is the Michael Jordan of polo, and that Louis Devereaux, the loathsome patron and player of a team called La Fée, is the cool box smasher, and also has biceps as big as hams, a nasty temper, a pregnant wife, and doesn't seem to care much about his ponies. "I don't even know what my fucking horses' names are," he says. It seems odd that executive producers Harry and this one's wife were so desperate to share this ghastly world with the rest of us. Well, the reason is, of course, it's a sport that Harry knows, and because they're a pair of dimwits that lack imagination, and Netflix are saying, if you want some more money, you're going to have to create something, essentially, Harry thinks, "Oh, I know, we'll make a series about polo." And this one's wife thinks, "Yeah, that's a good idea, we'll do that." Because they haven't got any creative talent and no imagination, and the fact that they fail to realise that most people cannot relate to the people in this programme, and moreover, They're unpleasant individuals, so as a consequence of that, it results in people thinking this is not only boring, but they're unpleasant too. Unsurprisingly, once again, the Sussexes fail to read the room, fail to understand their audience, and deliver something that has been roundly panned. It's not a surprise, but this one's wife won't care. She just wants the money. She just wants the recognition. And of course, she'd get involved in polo, because if it's a case of pants off and legs open, this somatic narcissist is at the head of the queue. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.